Hey, it looks like we're live. This is Bill Mason.
Hey, and Darcy Dunker. Sorry, I was pressing my go live button.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Hey, we're super thrilled to have you here tuning into our Facebook Live. I am Bill Mason with Rockfield Coach, and we got Darcy Dunker there. And Darcy is with,
I am with Darcy Dunker Coaching. Thank you.
yeah, we're both own our own businesses and we're executive coaches at We Align Coaching. Today, we're kind of zeroing in on when you're operating in your weaknesses, what do you do with that? When you have things you have to do, or you feel like things are draining, what should you do? And as we look at strengths and weaknesses, we want to talk about both, not just focus on our strengths, but also talk about what do we do with our weaknesses. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit today. As we think about that, Darcy, what are some things that you think people should do with tasks that drain their energy?
Oh goodness. Well, we're such a weakness focused culture. Like ever since we were kids, like in grade school, teachers are like, oh well, she gets an A in math, but her language arts, her spelling is atrocious. And so what do? They spend more time trying to help you learn spell words. Now that's not a horrible thing, but it is in a way. Like
Mhm.
had my teacher said, you know what, she's really good at math. Well, let's put her in an advanced math course and let her use her energy that way. Wow. Think about how that would have changed my life. But instead, I was sitting there feeling bad because my cursive was terrible and my spelling was terrible. And it turns out that there is spell check now. So really, really, what would have been a better use of my time? And so at first, I just want to start off with it's okay to not get better at your weaknesses. We have to manage them. We have to put some kind of something in place so that they don't derail you. But what we don't want to do is spend time trying to get better because it would take a whole lot of energy for me to try to spell every single word correctly.
100%, 100%. I love Jasper and all these other AIs that help me not look dumb. They're fantastic. Super cool. Because I don't have an
Yeah.
editor. Well, I have an editor, but it's hard to get my wife to edit my stuff. It's slow, right? But
Yeah.
man, I can just hop on and write some stuff and check it and check it and check it and check it. Eventually, it looks pretty decent, and away we go. Hey, that said it better than I
Great.
can say it, right? I
Yeah.
love
And
it.
Bill, we have a an activity, that people can do where they can really figure out what task is it that they should do something about. And so, do you want to explain that to them?
Yeah, I would. So we have this thing, this worksheet we do. It's also a workshop that we do with people. It's actually been pretty helpful. Typically, what we do is bring them in, and you don't have to have taken your Cliftons. If you take it, it can kind of supercharge that process. But what we do is we have them come in, and I'm going to pop this up. We have them come in, and basically we ask you, well, what are about 15 to 30 of your tasks that you do every day? And we're going to rate those from high performance down to low performance. Are you really good at doing this? It's really amazing to you, or do you kind of stink at that? I really like presenting and being with people. I really like creating things, the actual and starting stuff, but the actual finishing it and following through, not so much, right? So, but the do those things are really energizing to me. Things like administration, emails, accounting, all that kind of stuff, super not very good at, right? The odd thing is that, and then the other thing we want to look at is not only how well you do it, but how energizing or de-energizing it is, right? And so if
Mhm.
you have a task that's really highly energizing, man, you get a lot of energy from it, and you're really pretty good at it, you should do those tasks, right? Because we're going to plot this as you look at these tasks. We're going to make sure you put a number on these. Scale of 1 to 10, how energizing or draining they are. Scale of 1 to 10, how well do I perform? How poorly do I perform? And what we find is that anything that you're really good at, and you have high performance and they're highly energizing, is probably a strength. So you probably should do that. Just keep those. And so you scratch through those and just keep doing them, right? Anything that you actually really like doing that kind of bring you energy, but you're not very good at, that's probably a talent that you have that you just need training in. So you want to get some training, get somebody who already knows how to do that, help them help you. Go to a mastermind, go to a course, go to a class, find something to get some training so that you can move that from this develop area up into this do area. So you actually become pretty good at it. Like when I
Mhm.
started handwriting, not very good. Now that I handwrite a lot, pretty good. Uh, So then you have things that those areas are going to make your money at work and in life. It's going to make you live well. Where you start to get in trouble is areas over here where things that you're really good at, and we get this with a lot of people, like say you went to law school and you got pretty good at doing that, but then you don't like being a lawyer very well because you didn't like the courtroom or whatever, but you like the learning. So you actually may have had to do that for a long time and you got pretty good at it, but it sucks the life out of you. I've had 2 jobs like that, and both of them were just super draining. You'd think flying helicopters in the Army, best thing in the world, but after a couple of years, super draining. And so that's something, if you know how to do it, then you ought to train somebody else and delegate it to them, especially if there's someone on your team. Like if you don't really like editing, but somebody on your team loves to edit stuff, well, you should create for them and let them edit. And if they hate creating, they should let you create and you edit. And when you load those tasks and you delegate it, both of you actually end up working more of your time together. The danger here, this is where if you get stuck doing a bunch of stuff in this delegate area where you're good at it, but it sucks the life out of you, you're going to burn out. This is the number one way people get burnt out, right? Doing stuff, even though they're pretty good at it. And because you're good at it, you feel like, well, I should do it because I'm pretty decent at it. So I should do it, even though you hate it. And then this is where you get fired. If you're really not good at stuff at your job and it sucks the life out of you, you're probably gonna get fired. Or what we found with a lot of people in these areas, like we've said, I've had at least 12 different clients who have went and figured out they're living over here. They could live over here, and they quit their job. They found another job, then they quit their job and actually moved into a job that they really enjoyed that paid similar or even more in most cases.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happens. That's where I see most of my clients, right? They're either in the delegate or the delete quadrants because it drains their energy. Good at it or not good at it, if it drains your energy, it's the wrong task for you.
Yeah.
It's the wrong place,
Like
and so.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say the people who are most fulfilled in their job, they're in the do and develop. That's where they're at, and so that's what we hope for everybody. And so it's not just, this isn't just about career change. This is also about, hey, let's figure out in your current job today, what can we do to get you more energy?
Yeah. One of the ways we use this too, it's really cool. Once you do the chart, everybody has a list of their chart and we have you go through the chart and then we write out on another sheet the things you ought to be doing, developing, deleting, and delegating. And so then one of the things we do is with the team, if we're doing like a team of 10, we would have everybody write on little stickies everything that they're going to develop, and they put their name on it and what the task is. And then they put the sticky on the wall, right? And for every task that they don't like, they want to delegate, they're going to do that. And then every task they're going to delete, they just write the task. And you might end up with 100 of these different tasks, right? So then one by one, every person walks up to the board and they look at the board. And if there's any task they really like, that they would be fun, even if it's not in their purview necessarily, they take that task. Now it's sure going to be their job to do it, right? If it's got somebody's name on it, then that person needs to teach them how to do it. And now you have a point of contact to train them because that person knows how to do it really well and they're good at it. So they should train the next person to do it. And then they do that one by one, and people keep going around until there's no more task. Well, either you're out of tasks, which almost never happens, or they're tasks that nobody wants to do because we tell them, hey, don't take a task that you don't like or that you don't think would be energizing, right? And so you end up with a whole new set of tasks. And now you have your next hire. Whenever you're making enough money, then this is going to be what your next hire is. We did this with one company and nobody really wanted to do social media, right? So they waited a few months, and then that was the next person they hired, was somebody specifically designed who liked doing social media, who was good at it, and who enjoyed it, and you could hire it out. And it actually really helped the whole team kind of take off. Pretty cool.
Right. And just like we talked about in the live yesterday, when people are operating in their strengths, they do it quickly because they're really efficient at it and they're really good at it. And so all of a sudden now, this team that you're talking about, once they hired that social media person, they all had more time to do the things that they're amazing at, which makes the productivity of the entire team just skyrocket for sure.
So cool. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. But what can they do today? So let's talk about plugging our leaks.
Yeah, so we're going to share this little illustration, and we're going to shout out to Brent O'Bannon. Man, what a great dude. He was my first course I ever took on strengths It was phenomenal. If you have not taken that course from Brent O'Bannon, you can go to PCCI, Professional Christian Coaching Institute, and sign up for him there, or go to his website, BrentO'Bannon.com. Just look up Brent O'Bannon and hit Google, and you'll go to his website and sign up for his course. His course is fantastic. And so I asked him personally if we could use this. This is actually his information. As you can see, we're referencing him down there, but this was just a phenomenal little illustration about when you have a leak, and he would define a leak as something that you hate. An escape. E is the escape. How can I actually get out of doing this? The average, no matter how hard I try, I never get better at this. I'm just average. Or you think about doing this task and you just get this kink in your stomach. He would say all of those are leaks. And if you have these as leaks, it doesn't matter if you've taken the Cliftons or not, any task you're doing, if you feel like that, well, here's some really simple ways to fix that. You're going to keep your weaknesses at bay by doing this. You're going to plug them. So the first thing you can do is plan. You want to talk about that a little bit, Darcy?
Yeah. And so a plan would be, okay, I know that this is a task that I hate doing, right? Or whatever, or I'm just average at it. If you know your strengths, you can actually look at your signature strengths, the things you are amazing at, and say, hey, which of my other strengths can I lean into to get this done? Right. And so, Bill, have you ever had an experience with doing that? I'm kind of putting you on the spot.
Of course.
Okay, tell me.
So I've got discipline, which is order, very low. So it's really hard for me to create order. My desk is always messy. My life is always messy. I don't like it, but it's super hard to keep it. We had some people come in our house to do some work, and I'm like, I have to clean everything off my desk. I will have to pile everything onto my desk, take all these papers and books that are always surrounding my desk, and clean them up, right? So I could get these outside forces that force me to do things. We used to have people come to our house for mentoring once a week, have to clean the house. And I kind of liked that we had people over because got to clean the house. But without the outside impotence to do that, it might be a month before I actually picked up just dumb stuff. Our house is not nasty. It's just that it's cluttered because I'll get that book later. I'll get those shoes after bed. I'll get those, And one of the other things I do is I have an activator really high. Mm-hmm. So even though it's really hard for me to order, if you look at my calendar, you would think I have lots of order because my calendar is always full of stuff. But what I do is I use activator. As soon as I have a task or someone says, hey, could we meet? Because I meet all these different people. I immediately put it on my calendar, and people were like, oh, you don't have to do that now. I'm like, bro, if I don't do it right now, I'm going to walk away and completely forget we even talked. And then when we have a meeting next week and you go, hey, are you coming? I'm like, what? We have a meeting? I won't even remember. So using my activator protects me from my future self of not knowing I'm supposed to be doing stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great example. Yeah. Well, mine are similar, right? You and I have really similar strengths, but my number 34, keep in mind, there are only 34 strengths. So this is the bottom. This is my greatest weakness, right? This is I'm not meant for this. And it's responsibility. Like, no wonder adulting feels so stressful to me most of the time, right? Because responsibility is just it's not who I am. And there's a lot of freedom in being able to say that. Just last night, my husband was like, hey, did you? I'm like, low responsibility, remember? So, I don't use it as an excuse, but I know in life, you still have to get things done. I still have to be an adult. And so to use other strengths of mine, I also have activator. And so the moment that the task is assigned, right, I'm like, I better get on that now while my activator is still kind of fired up about it. Otherwise, it may not get done. And the other one I have is a ranger. And a ranger is somebody is similar to you. My activator puts it on my calendar, but then my arranger allows me to arrange my calendar in such a way that I know my tasks are going to get done. So the task that I want to do the least is the first thing that gets on my calendar in the morning, right? Those are for my tasks I don't want to complete. And so it's just all about learning to lean into your strengths in order to make up for your weaknesses.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
How about uniting? Do you have a story about how you've united with somebody else to do better?
Yeah, that's a really good one too. I think most married couples do this without actually realizing they do it.
Yeah.
There's like I don't remember who I learned this from or where I learned it or whatever, but if these are your top five strengths, you definitely don't want to end up marrying somebody that has those same top five strengths. And the reason why is you have all of these gaps in
Yep.
between. And so what you really want is to marry somebody who does this. Granted, that will cause conflict sometimes, right? But we have an entire thing on conflict too,
That's
conflict
right.
resolution through strengths as well to get over that. But that I married somebody who has none of the top five strengths none of the top 10 strengths that I do, and he has responsibility really high. And so honestly, and we'll get into this with the plugging the leaks, I delegate a lot to him. I'm like, hey, this thing has to get done, but I'm going to forget to do it. Would you mind taking that on? And it actually feels really good for him to say yes and to do it, right? Because he also has achiever, which I do not. And so
Oh,
the checking it off the box feels really good for him. And
fantastic.
so, yeah, that makes for a really great team. And he also how should I put, softens my activator.
Yeah.
Because once I'm on fire about something, it's going to happen, right? In my mind, call it spontaneity, whatever you want to call it. But sometimes it happens without a lot of thought going
Yep.
into it. And
Yep.
he's able to soften that for me and be like, hey, did you think about? And I'm like, no, I didn't. Okay,
Yeah.
thanks. I'm still activating on it, but that really helps. How about you?
Oh,
Have you
same
have you
thing.
united? Same thing?
Yeah. So my wife, of course, we've been married 33 years. So we're like this, right? So, and the only place we have struggles is where we have no coverage, right? Like we have empathy, which is, we don't feel what other people's feels, and we don't have a huge need to express our emotions. And so both of us have empathy at 34 at the bottom. So if you have a sad story, we're probably not the ones you want to talk about, because
Don't
we're
talk to
kind of
me.
like,
I got you.
anyway, not that we're mean, but she has discipline and she has input really high. So she remembers everything, right? So it's amazing. I could tell her today, hey, 2 years from now on October the 3rd at 3:00, I have a doctor's appointment. And she was like, okay. And like a week before, she would remember, hey, don't you have a doctor's appointment next week? I'm like, how do you do this? Right. So one of the things I do is everything I have to do, I usually tell her and I announce it. Hey, just, next week I'm doing this, or I'm doing that, I'm doing this. And aren't you doing this? Yeah, I'm doing that. I'm doing this and that. And she has access, of course, to all calendars and stuff. So often, not a few months ago, I was getting ready to leave on a trip on a Monday. I was going to be gone for like 3 days. And she's like, don't you have appointments tomorrow? Appointments? Huh. Maybe. So I look on my calendar. Oh my gosh, I have 5 appointments on the day I'm flying out. I'm like, oh, I had to go. Hey, God, what happened was, because I just do not connect it. I'll have stuff on my calendar and I'll look past it and book stuff in spite of some, especially if it's at the top, like it's an all day, don't do anything. So I have to block out, don't coach today, right? Because
That's hilarious. You know what else I'm just observing about you that I'm just going to say live, right, for you is I find it so endearing that every time you talk about your wife and you speak as if you're her, you use this one cute little voice.
oh,
You like to mimic her voice. It's adorable. I love it.
thanks.
So
Well, she's awesome. Shout out to Anna Mason, my bride,
Woo-hoo.
and a better part of me. So.
You know what else I have found that is, and I'm not sure which part of the plug this would be. Let me see. Co-labor with someone, volunteer, delete if possible, pay someone else. Pay someone else would definitely be the delegate. High VAs, right? You were talking about the marketing person for coaches. It's a hire a VA for sure. But the one that I'm not seeing exactly where it would fit in is I put a lot of systems into place to cover my responsibility. And so it takes an onset of an energy drain for me to like call the bank and put something on automatic payment. That I know is going to be a huge energy drain for me. Goes first thing in my calendar in the morning so I can just get it done. But once it's done, it's done. And I never have to worry about that mortgage payment again. It's on automatic payment. So somebody else is being responsible because I don't want to be, right? And so I do a lot of systematizing. And that's really how I cover my responsibility the most.
That's awesome. Yeah, me too. I'd systematize. And if you ever never heard of the book, The Power of Habit, phenomenal book that if you can train a habit, like I wanted to read every morning. So I would take my coffee cup and put it on my book that I'm going to read. And then when I wake up, then I have to do that. Right. And then if I read a chapter, then I'd eat a Reese cup. Right. And I did that for about a year. So now I can smell coffee and it's like, did I read today?
It's time to read. I love it. It's true though, that thing about scent. And that is such a great book.
Well, and it's rewarding, right? I have a trigger already that I'm already doing. That's my trigger, this new habit I want, and then a reward and a trigger, habit, trigger, habit, reward, trigger, habit. Right. And eventually you don't have to remember to do it because it remembers for you. So now it's a non-choice if I'm going to read or not. I have to choose not to read. It takes energy not to read rather than read. So it really covers. Mm-hmm. And our last thing here, we have to punch, right? Because we're leadership coaches. You should hire a coach. If you need help, they can probably help you create systems, understand yourself, understand your weaknesses, and then really take you to the next level. One of the other things we talked about here is go to Toastmasters. If you don't know what that is, you get to go speak in front of people. Shout out to my friend Dave Mead. He did this simply to learn how to speak better because he doesn't really like presenting. He does a phenomenal job, but he doesn't really like it. And he said it took it through the roof. It just helped him so much just to be practicing and being nervous and being able to practice and practice and practice. It was so helpful. So
yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so plug those leaks.
Plug those leaks. That's exactly right. Right. So come up with a system to do that. And remember, if you're in the develop stage, then hire a coach or find a mentor that can teach you how to do something. If you're in the delete, if most of your tasks that you're doing every day are in the delete stage, you may want to reconsider where you're at and what you're doing and possibly look for a career change,
Fantastic.
So,
no doubt.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, tell them why we're doing this, Bill. Why are we hopping on here every day talking about our favorite subject with the strengths?
Well, we are hitting the streets because we want to help people grow their strengths. We're going to do an expiring mini course, a little 3-day course. It's going to start next Monday. And we have a crazy offer for you. It's $99, or you can have it for free if you'll just agree to finish the course and give us some feedback. If you're interested in doing that, are you going to drop a link in it for it?
Yeah, with this live, like in the notes of it or something, there's a link to go ahead and register for that course. And we put the code in there too, to make it free for you. Again, with that agreement of, hey, finish it, give us feedback.
And if you don't, you'll just disappear and it'll go away forever. Right. But we wanted to offer this. It's a beta test. So anybody wants to help us beta test, we would love your feedback, whether it's amazing or not so amazing, Bill. You should try again. No big deal. But this is our first of many. We hope to launch a bunch of courses this year that will help people grow their strengths, help you to have better relationships, to get unstuck, to get unfrustrated, to have more energy, better work-life balance, all of these things that we as coaches are really trying to help people with. If you're interested, check out the link after we go in, when we get the comments going. And if you have any questions, you can contact me at bill@rocketfuelcoach.com, or you can check out my website at www.rocketfuelcoach.com or at wheellinecoaching.com. Either of those, both of us can be found there. And Darcy's is...
you can contact me at Darcy@darcydunker.com or www.darcydunker.com, or also on Wheelline.
And we hope to do a bunch of these this year, even if we're not selling nothing, just to give you some information on what we're doing and how we can help you. And we like to serve a lot of people. And we'd love to see a movement of transformation for people who are connected well, living in joy, and excited about life.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Bill.
It's great to see you, Darcy. Thanks for being there. Hit some comments for us and let us know what you think. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye. Yeah, tomorrow. Bye.